You are listening to the Manifested Sis podcast, a safe space for women of color to explore all things manifesting, wellness, self-care, and personal development. You are always manifesting, and now you can do it intentionally and consciously to create the life of your dreams. Each episode gives you actionable tips and strategies from the spiritual to the practical that will help you get from where you are to exactly where you want to be with grace and ease. Thanks for tuning in. Here's your host, intuitive life coach, Dani Faust.
Hello, and welcome back to the Manifested Sis podcast. I'm your host, Dani Faust. Thank you so much for tuning in again today. You are listening to episode number 6, tips on where and how to start your personal development or spiritual awakening journey. Now, this episode, I got an email from someone through my blog, okdani.com, and she was a listener. She heard the first episode or first 2 episodes of the podcast, and she contacted me through my blog and asked, well, she told me her story, which I was going to share, but I'm not sure if she'd be comfortable with it. So she told me her story, and then she asked about where to get started. And I figured that would be an amazing episode because it is a common question that I have been asked a million times, and I think the answer will help you guys. First, I'll tell you a little bit about my story, how I got into personal development, and then how that moved towards spirituality, and now like the uber woo-woo metaphysical stuff that I am into currently. So when I was 21 and supposed to be graduating from college, I wasn't, because I was too busy partying and doing all the wrong things. And I noticed that my friends were graduating, and I was like, wait, hold up. I did not want to be left behind. So I quick fast got back into school and did what I had to do to graduate. But before I could do that, I really had to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. Why am I not getting my shit together? And that led me into personal development. It started with Oprah mentioning something about Tony Robbins. I read a Tony Robbins book, which led me to a Brian Tracy book. And I'll link the actual books for you in the show notes. And that led me down to more of the in your head type of personal development journey. So organization, structure, time management, goal setting, very masculine, very heady, very left brain, very that. So fast forward, that was very useful to me. It helped me get myself on the right track, get a great job, yada, yada. Fast forward to after my brother passed away on Christmas 2016, my spiritual gifts that I had been letting just go dormant kind of punched me in the face, for lack of a better word. Like, my dreams have always been very vivid, but they became extremely prophetic really unexpectedly. And it was just to the point where I can't ignore this. I'm dreaming about something Thursday night, and then on Saturday during the day, it's playing out word for word. It's like, okay, something's here. I need to actually explore this. And when I did that, I just opened up a whole can of beans, because I ended up speaking to my mother, who told me all sorts of stuff from when I was a little kid with prophetic dreams and seeing spirits and just lots of future telling and lots of wild stuff like that. So that's what kind of led me to start digging deeper and making sense of it, because I did not know. I knew I had some spiritual gifts. I did not even know what to call them, how to use them for the powers of good or anything. So I had to dig and find some mentors, really do a lot of reading, a lot of research on my own, and figure out what this all means to me and what I choose to believe, because it is always a choice, and how I choose to use my gifts as well. So my tips for anyone who is starting a personal development journey or spiritual journey is, my number one is, first of all, recognizing that it's all spiritual. back when I was 21, I did not realize that. I just thought, okay, this is personal development. Okay, self-help, getting myself together. Very much about the brain, very much about the tactical and practical, which I still am very into because, hello, I'm a Virgo. But I did not recognize that my heart had to be into it and how it was all connected. Your heart, your spirit, your mind, they're all coalescing together. So just remember that it's all a spiritual journey, no matter how you want to term it. If you want to call it a personal development journey or self-help journey, fine. If that, floats your boat. If you want to call it a spiritual journey or a spiritual awakening, personal awakening, that's cool too. The lingo doesn't matter, and we'll actually come back to that in a bit. It just matters that you know that you are actually on this journey and really embrace it. Embrace the journey, because it ain't ever going to end. You open this can of worms, now you're just going to have to deal with these worms. But they're delightful worms, so don't worry. Okay, so when you're starting your spiritual or personal development journey, my suggestion is to start with the pain. And what I mean by that is start with the trigger. It takes a little bit of mindfulness to do this, but I think now with the world of having triggers be such a commonplace phrase now, when before it used to just really be in the self-help and therapy world, I think this makes it a bit easier because you know what triggers you. And when I say trigger, I mean something that when you see it, view it, hear it, it sparks something in you. And what it sparks is not positive. So start with your pain point. It might be that your house is a mess. It's constantly a mess. You can't ever get it clean and you feel embarrassed and you notice it. One day it just kind of clicks, like you notice this thing about you. So start there and then maybe get a book on organizing or paring down or minimalism or whatever. And it starts there. The self-help starts there. A lot of times people in relationships, they find their triggers there. And it's, relationships are really a useful tool for personal development because you have this person who's acting as your mirror. So it's like, if you're in a long-term relationship and you're not in a personal development journey at the same time, it's like you're really trying hard not to grow because you've got opportunity everywhere. So I say start with the pain, what triggers you, and lean into that. If you notice it's something around mother or father issues, find a book on it or do something to learn about it. Have a conversation with a therapist, whatever it is. But start with the pain because that tells you where to dig. And that's kind of a really good guiding post of somewhere like, okay, this upsets me, this bothers me. Let me dig into it and see why and how I can fix it easily, quickly, helpfully. The second part is, where are you interested in starting? And sometimes it really is that simple. What feels good? What are you interested in learning about? It doesn't always have to be pain. It doesn't always have to be like, woe is me, I can't make money, so let me dig into what my money blocks are and how my parents spoke about money and now I have to dig in there. It doesn't have to be something negative. It can really just be like, oh my gosh, that girl is wearing a really beautiful crystal necklace. I wonder what that crystal means or stands for. Let me Google it. And that can bring you down to like a whole rabbit hole about crystal healing, crystal therapy, and the power of crystals. And I just want to make it just abundantly clear that everything I mentioned, these are just examples. You don't have to be into crystals to be spiritual. You don't have to care about numerology, astrology, angels, none of that shit. Tarot. You don't have to dig any of that stuff to be spiritual because by existing, you already are spiritual. So just know that and release any of those expectations or shoulda, couldas, if you have them assigned to the word spiritual or if you think spirituality and metaphysical have to go together in that kind of performative way. It's all internal. You don't need anything else. Okay, so start where you feel good. I mentioned the angels and tarot, but all that crystals, magic, candle magic, manifestation, sound healing, music, neuroscience, quantum physics, any of those type of things. If anything that I just said jumped out at you and you would just want to learn more, go for it. Because spoiler alert, all of those things are going to lead you back to you. And that's where the healing is going to be taking place. So whichever road you take to get there, you can go the psychology road, you can go the meditation road. Either way, you come back to you, your spirit, and your alignment with your higher self. So there's that. Also, my next tip is to learn the lingo and learn all you can. So if none of those things particularly spark your interest, and if you are not yet mindful enough to know a solid trigger, or don't want to yet dig into the pain, that is okay too, then just pick any of them and learn a little bit about it. You will know quickly if it's something that you dig or not. And it'll help you with learning the lingo around things. I try to be really conscious during this podcast to say, for example, if I say God, I am very conscious to say God, universe, spirit, the one, source, the creator, all that is. Super conscious, whatever it is. I like to give the options just to let everyone realize that it's really just language around this energy. And with many of the things that you will start learning when you dig into your spiritual awakening and start your spiritual awakening and dig into your personal development journey, you're going to hear a lot of words. A lot of them mean the same thing, just kind of in a different language. And I put my fingers up for air quotes around language because, in the psychology world, you'll hear super conscious versus in the spiritual world, you'll hear higher self. Talking about the same thing, but in different words. So try your best to learn the lingo you can and just be open to it. When I first started my journey, I can't even believe how I'm speaking now because I was not into the woo and someone talking about, standing in your truth and owning your power. I'm like, what? What are you even talking about? This airy fairy shit. Just what are you trying to say? Give it to me plain. So, and in some ways I'm still very much like that. And if you are like that, just know that there is a very practical language that goes along with the woo language. So when you learn both, you'll be able to kind of quick change it in your head if you're reading or listening to someone who's speaking in the other language that you're more comfortable with. I hope that made sense. The other is to look outside your circle. So if you were raised in a very, Southern Baptist conservative home, but you're being called toward astrology or tarot or something in the metaphysical world that may not be very accepted to your culture, your group, the way you were raised, I suggest you look outside your circle and start creating a circle that is more accepting, more open, and gives you more opportunity to learn. Because the more you open up your circle, the more someone's going to say something that's going to just snap and make a lot of sense for you, just really click for you. And you won't get that if you're keeping your circle closed. So if, say, you are in the crystal community already and you're ready to start branching out on your spiritual journey, you have to get past the crystal folks if you want to get to the tarot folks or to the neuroscience or quantum physics folks. You really have to open up. And there are many people who are interested in all of it. I am one of those people who I have a very wide interest in it. And there's so many people like that. So you're going to luck out and make some friends who can help you and guide you unofficially to all the different areas in your spiritual journey. I want you to also keep in mind that this can be as superficial or as deep as you are ready for at any given time. So what I mean is it can be something like just learning a little bit of goal setting or time management, which in my opinion is a little more superficial because it's just, you don't have to dig into yourself. You don't have to really question yourself or change your mindset too much in order to get those things, to acquire those skills. learning the basics of manifestation, for example, is another thing that's very superficial, because you'll learn about staying positive, keeping your thoughts and words on what you want versus what you don't want. That's really superficial. It's very positive, but it's not going to the next layer. So when we get to the deeper layers, those are the things that you really have to do energetic work around, do shadow work around, dig into your whys, do subconscious work and some healing work deeper down to transform yourself, truly transform yourself. So I'm mentioning this because I want you to just be gentle, which is the next tip, but know that it can be superficial, it can be deep, and it's okay wherever you're at. It's okay for you to be there now. So if you're just not ready to go deep and like, I'm not trying to do no past life stuff, Dani, I'm just trying to get a little more money, be a little happier. Boom, that is fine. If you're called to do it later, that's fine. If you're not, we'll wait till you're ready. So just know that wherever it is, superficial or deep, it's okay. And that slides me nicely into the next tip of being gentle with yourself, especially because once you open up to this world, you'll meet friends who are interested in metaphysical stuff or have been on a spiritual journey for a while and have had some really interesting, amazing, and possibly unbelievable experiences. You might start thinking like, oh, wait a second, I got to do that too. And, how do I get there? And I just want you to know that this is not linear. This is kind of like a spiral, and you can spiral upward or you can spiral downward, or you can stay on the same rung of the spiral and just kind of go around and around. But you have to be gentle with yourself on every level, no matter where you're at. If it's deep in shadow work and digging things out and healing generational wounds, or if it's just like, oh man, I'm really struggling with my time management. No matter where you're at, be very gentle with yourself and know that it's a journey. It's not a straight line. So enjoy the fact that you're on this journey. Give yourself kudos that you're on this journey, because so many people don't consciously and intentionally go on this journey. They just kind of find themselves thrown into it and just it's mindless. So you are so ahead of the game, and I'm excited for you to be on it. So that kind of also gets me to the don't compare tip, which when you are meeting those friends who are in different places and spaces than you, just know that their journey is theirs and yours is yours. If they're ahead of you, air quote, ahead of you, or more learned than you or knowledgeable about certain things, ask those questions, but don't compare your journey to theirs. You have no idea what they've gone through and what parts of their journey they're not telling you. All you know is what you've been through and what you're going towards. And that's the only thing you really should focus on. Keep your blinders on when it comes to other people's journeys, because it's only yours that matters. And what a disservice to do to yourself to compare. Like, how does that help you in any way? On the other side, don't compare downward either. I think it's the opposite of woke. It's the opposite of your awakening if you're comparing downwards, like, oh, she's only, doing her morning ritual. I'm meditating for 5 hours a day. Like, dude, do not be that guy, please. And if you're listening to this podcast, I feel like you probably have good juju and you won't be that guy. So it goes without saying, which means I'll move on. The other tip is to expect shifts in relationships as you grow. This is hard, and I think we might do a full episode on relationships as it coincides with your spiritual awakening. But your relationships are going to shift because you are shifting, and it'll shift in a few ways. One is you'll realize how simple and stupid some people are, and you'll want to just rid your life of them, which is totally cool. You might get pushback from people in your life who expect you to be a certain way. And then when they see that you're changing, growing, shifting, they're like, whoa. This is new for me. I don't like this version of you. What boundaries? How dare you? I want the old you back. And so that's a lesson right in there for you to hold your boundary firm and decide what you're going to do about these people in your life. Relationships will shift. I'm not saying you have to go and you're canceled, I'm growing. It doesn't have to be that, but you certainly do have to know who you want in your life and how the people that you keep in your life are going to feed into you and how you're going to interact with the people who you keep in your life. So, I know when I started my personal development journey, I was nervous about saying the things that I was into and talking about doing readings with my family, because I know they're just, while they're open, they're still judgmental. And I was like, well, I can't hide this. This is what I'm doing now. It's part of my business now. So I'm just going to talk about it. And if they have something negative to say, then I'll put that boundary up, and this is something that we won't speak about, or I'll let them know, hey, let's just not speak negatively about this, and we can talk about other topics, whatever it is. Luckily, it was just one day of calling me Miss Cleo, and then they were over it, and we could just go back to business as usual. Life as usual. But I was prepared for the shift in relationship. I'm grateful to my family being as weird as they are, so that we didn't have to have a negative shift. But just know that your friendships may fall away, and that doesn't mean it's forever. They may fall away because you trigger them. You might be growing in such a way that they're like, whoa, what is she doing? Oh my gosh, I feel a way about this. Let me separate from her. But guess what? That friend might start her own journey and come back, and you'll meet each other at a higher frequency. So just consider yourself going up on the radio dial, and the people who are around that frequency will stay in your life and stay close. And the people that are further down on the radio dial will be out of your life until they're able to come up to your station. So leave all those hot 97 people over there while you're over there at WBLS. That's for the New Yorkers. Sorry. Everyone else. One was at 97 and one was at 107.5 for everyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about. But so yeah, expect shifts in your relationship as you grow, and know that it's normal. Know that it's normal. And mourning those losses of friendships, those shifts in friendships and relationships is totally normal as well. So we're almost done. Okay, so some tools for your personal development and spiritual journey. One is a journal. And this is really non-negotiable, because you're going to need your journal to write down all the crazy shit that happens, all the wins you have, all the questions that pop into your mind, all your self-work, all those little things like affirmations and all these ideas that come to your head, because you're going to be meditating more, but that's the next tool. Anyway, you're going to need that journal. You're going to be opened up in such a way that you have so much information coming to you, you're going to need a place to put it. So have a journal, carry it with you. If you're not a paper pen person, start to be one, or have something on your phone that you can quickly type up ideas, notes, questions, whatever. Another tool is going to be meditation or stillness. So I know meditation scares people sometimes when you say that word, because they think it's just quiet in your mind or sitting lotus position and having nothing in your head. And that is certainly one way. Zen Buddhist meditation is certainly one way of doing things, but there are so many other ways to meditate. If you just sit and focus on your breath for a few minutes, ask a question to the universe and sit and wait for the answer. There's so many different ways, even just a walking meditation. So I encourage you, when you're on that path where you're starting to look around and learn about all the different things that you might be interested in or feels good, I want to encourage you to look into meditation, because it is a game changer. If you have nowhere else to look, I would suggest that be the first place. And scientifically proven to help in so many ways. So if you're a science head, go for meditation. If you're a woo-woo head, go for meditation. So walking and exercise is another tool that I want you to use. One, because it's great for your body and moving your energy. Your whole energy wants to move, and you are energy, right? So all the energy in your body and the different meridians and in the different parts of your body, all through your chakras, it wants to move. It doesn't want to stay stagnant. So moving your body every day, even if it's just walking and stretches, that's enough to get things moving. And that is a part of your personal development journey, because you're going to notice so profoundly how much of a difference it makes in your mood, your energy, your mindset, the way you remember things, the way you notice things, your mindfulness when you do versus when you don't. So that. The next tool would be mindfulness, which is a very broad term. So I'm very specifically talking about in the moment mindfulness in the morning and during a certain time that you may choose throughout the day. So maybe it's right when you first wake up, kind of giving yourself a check-in, like, how am I feeling? What am I thinking? What's my energy towards the day? Or pick a point in your day that you do each day, maybe brushing your teeth, where you get to check in with yourself and be really mindful about what's going on with you in that moment. And there's no right or wrong time to choose. So just pick one and start, because it's a great way to just get yourself primed for mindfulness. You need mindfulness. You need that kind of focus and introspection and ability to look at yourself in order to do this spiritual journey in a more intentional and receptive way. And on the very super duper practical side, the library or Amazon. I know I mentioned before with everything, all those little different tools to read books on it. I mean, websites are cool too. There's so many websites on these topics. I would just suggest that when you're reading a certain website, to check others to make sure the information kind of aligns and resonates with you. But definitely go to the library, pick out random books in different topics on personal development, spirituality, mindset, psychology, quantum physics, or neuroscience, all these things to get you understanding what's happening with you and kind of easing you through your transition and your awakening. The very last tip is to see a professional. And I don't care if it's someone like me who is a psychic intuitive who can tell you like, oh, these are your gifts, this is what will resonate, whatever, or do Reiki on you and clear you out so that you're able to more quickly ascend, or if it's someone who is like a therapist or a counselor or some other type of coach. But see a professional. That is, if you are stuck or if you are just, I don't know where to start and I'm a little nervous, go to a pro. Go to a pro and start talking, or let them speak to spirit for you until you're able to hone your intuition to do it easier on your own, or trust your own intuition and let them guide you. Either way, no matter what tips that I just said that either resonate with you or don't resonate with you, ultimately, what matters is that you are starting. There's no timeline on this, so I'm just proud of you for starting at all. And you doing this now, it's going to just transform your life in so many ways. And it's exciting because you don't even realize how much of your life is going to be impacted by what you learn and how you transform and what you start to embody as you grow on your spiritual awakening. So I'm just really excited for you guys. I hope this resonated, and I hope that the woman who submitted the question to me really feels heard and answered on this, because this is really for you, but everyone else. So thank you for that. And if you guys have questions, oh my God, I would love it if you guys would just send me the questions that you have about manifesting, spirituality, personal development, wellness, meditation, mindfulness, all of that stuff. I would love it if you send me the questions to help guide the solo episodes that I do and guide the people that I invite on to interview for your benefit. So please don't be shy. You can shoot me an email at Dani@okdanny.com, or you can DM me on manifest_it_sis, or DM me at the Dani Faust on Instagram. Either one, I'm always around. So yeah. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back next week with a fantastic guest for you. And I hope you have a fantastic week, and talk to you later. Bye. Hey, you made it to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this, I would love it if you'd subscribe and share with a friend who might dig this content too. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes for links to everything mentioned in this episode, and feel free to visit DaniFaust.com for more. Bye!